La 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 la. They tried to slap that look right off my face, but I'm still grinning. And the money ain't run out yet, so I do believe I'm winning. For all the mess I was, am and will be continuing. And the fun is only beginning. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Hello and welcome to Don't Bury the Lead. We recap WWE SmackDown every Saturday night. My name is John Zindel. I'm joined by Dom Scarcella. Dom, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
This was, of all the SmackDowns we've seen in the last month or so, this one was the one that screamed WrestleMania the most. This is definitely the road to WrestleMania. So without further ado, John, don't bury the lead. What's our top story from WWE SmackDown from March 21st?
Dom, we don't ever bury the lead. And the lead, for the first time in a while here, is a talking segment. We got Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman coming down into the ring. Then Seth Rollins following. Then CM Punk. Lots of back and forth. Turns into a big brawl and ends the show. Dom, I glazed over a lot of the details here, but pretty much just a long-winded promo for the main event here. What'd you think of this talking segment?
Some interesting stuff said in there with the history that each of these three guys have in different combinations. But this was clearly to set up a triple threat for WrestleMania 41. You know, there was the brawl, guys pointing to the logo, more brawling. Another guy points to the logo. Well, everybody points to the logo. Everybody brawls. Roman Reigns calls out whoever wants to get in the ring, and Seth Rollins joins him in the ring and says, look, this is about you and me. And of course, CM Punk's music hits. And now both guys in the ring, Roman and Seth, they look annoyed. Like, really, this guy? So that was a good, enemy of my enemy is my friend moment there, where both Roman and Seth now look visibly annoyed that CM Punk is coming down to the ring. CM Punk makes it very clear that neither one of you has ever beaten me without the other one's help. Hey, now. CM Punk, if I'm not mistaken, has he never main evented WrestleMania?
That is one of his claims. Yeah,
it is one of his claims. So do you think this could be night one of WrestleMania main event? There's no belts involved, just these three guys with the star power. Is this kind of CM Punk finagling his way into a WrestleMania main event triple threat? This is the most star-studded match they're having, right?
Feels like it, right? It feels like you
arguably Cody, John Cena, with Cody, The Rock maybe on there. But as far as three guys in the ring, this is the last 10 or 15 years of WWE and pro wrestling overall with what CM Punk did outside of WWE, right?
Yeah, I feel like especially with Roman Reigns involved, Roman Reigns with anyone, that's your main, right? He's been in the main for over a decade at this point, maybe a decade. Seth Rollins has always been sniffing around that main event, and Punk, of course, coming back and the momentum he's had. I think the thing is with Punk, he never got in the main event of WrestleMania, but WrestleMania main event used to be one night, so it used to be like only one main event. So would make sense now that they have more flexibility in the main event that he would be considered up there, unless of course you have, well, I guess you kind of want, man, I think that would probably have to be it, especially over Gunther and Jey Uso. Not to take they'll have a better match, Gunther and Jey Uso, and that should be the main, but the triple threat with the big stars, you could say Roman, Punk, Rollins. And we got a chat coming in here. Fixer.
Oh, Fixer's here. Good morning, Fixer. All right.
Yeah, so I do have some observations I wanted to make here.
Go for it. Yes.
Noticed that when Seth Rollins came out, he is wearing Bono glasses. Like that's the fly Bono in the early '90s, and it stuck out to me big time. I'm a pretty big U2 fan, so I was like, oh yeah, I know that's Bono from the '90s. Second thing I wanted to point out was with Seth Rollins' music and that chant. I was like, this crowd probably loves this because they're chanting and hooting and hollering all night. Like the
Yes.
Europe crowd is just, they're big chanters, right? So like
Mhm.
once they get the opportunity to do the chant with the CM Punk or with the Seth Rollins music, I was like, okay, yeah, this guy was made for European tours.
Soccer hooligans.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, we got this here. We got an early prediction. Jey Uso's beating Gunther.
Jay is beating Gunther, so we're thinking 2 WrestleManias in a row. Gunther walks in with a belt and leaves without one. Wow,
Appears to be that way.
wow. I see. I'm hearing that people are the Jey Uso match on Raw and doing the total flop dollar on his dive attempt. I don't know if Jay's ready to have a world title. It's the same 3 moves. He's going to flippy dive over the rope onto the floor. I mean, Jey Uso is still a tag team wrestler just without a tag team partner.
It's like years and years of him in the tag team. It's like it's a tough transition, right, from tag to singles, and vice versa too, single to tag.
Mm-hmm.
It's a totally different ball game. But yeah, we'll have to see there. Anything else you wanted to talk about with these promos?
CM Punk referencing the favor that Paul Heyman owes him, and of course, this making Paul Heyman, as Roman Reigns very slowly turns his head and looks over his shoulder at Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman trying to, I don't know what's going on, and trying to weasel his way out of it. So yeah, little bit of intrigue there. These are stars. Any combination of them could be a great match. I'm just hoping that the triple threat doesn't detract from the match. Like for instance, I fear it's going to detract from Io Sky, Bianca Belair, now that they're trying to force Rhea Ripley into it as a triple threat for that that title there, that world title on the women's side. It's like, oh man.
Triple threats are weird, right? Because they seem like the right idea, like, oh, we got the third person in, it adds a lot of intrigue, but they're tough to execute.
Yes.
What do? You do 2 men in and then one laying outside, and then you guys do, you rotate around. Do you focus a lot on double teams and helping each other out and then not helping each other out? There's a lot more room for creativity, but there's also a lot more room for things to go south a little bit.
Triple threats are great for TV tournament matches where you're trying to get through it quickly. So you put 3 guys in a match instead of 2 guys in a match, and you start paring down, 50% quicker.
Yeah. For these fast bang, bang, bang matches.
Yes. I mean, now, to be fair, WrestleMania did have at WrestleMania 39 the best triple threat I've seen, which was Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre.
Oh,
that was a fantastic match. But on the other hand, I think Gunther versus either one of those guys one-on-one would have been a fantastic match too. So again, I'm hesitant to endorse a triple threat because I think when you're talking about your best workers, your best wrestlers, your best in-ring performers, I don't know what the third man in the ring, third woman in the ring adds to the match.
Yeah, I think even, and I noticed tonight or last night with CM Punk's promo, he's getting up there in age. I noticed it just looking at his face as he was talking. I was like, oh, he's got some wrinkles. And, he's in his mid-40s, late 40s as he's talking. And
Yes.
Maybe the triple threat gives the opportunity for Roman and Seth to kind of carry it while Punk can be more of a character figure within the match rather than having Punk do like a 25-minute. I don't know if he can do like a like a 30-minute Iron Man type, like American Classic, 30-minute match. Like, I don't know if he has that physical skill set still.
Without botching a toolbox move to injure his opponent.
Yeah, I noticed it with the toolbox. Even the Seth Rollins Punk match on Netflix, when he had to get him up for the go to sleep, you could see him like kind of like he's not popping the guy up and hitting him strong when he does his finisher. It's like he's actually struggling to get him up a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, Kurt Angle's an amazing athlete, and you saw him start to deteriorate. Like, it happens. He's older. It happens.
Yes,
I'm not like
it happens.
blaming him. I'm like, this is the reality.
Could still be a great match. Like, I wonder if they did that with The Rock last year, put him in a tag match so that The Rock could be out there for a long time and people could enjoy it and see him, but he could get breathers throughout the match because it's a tag match.
Yeah, but I'd have to say The Rock was really impressive in how huge he was. I think he's strong enough to keep going. Maybe he'll work slower, but he was definitely had the strength. But that's, of course, all of his chicken breast and rice and broccoli. That's all, right? That got him so big and strong.
Hey, good diets, right? That's what it does.
Right.
I eat right now. I take my vitamins and I say my prayers.
Yes,
and the training.
That's all it is. Definitely not
brother.
HGH and TRT.
Yeah.
Jay. Okay, so a couple chats coming in here. Jay has a very small moveset, as it's the same as Jimmy's, and some other stuff coming from the Fixer. Rhea Ripley is showing some signs of turning heel.
Yes, she is, but people like it.
Oh.
But people like it, yes.
And then I want to show one more from the Fixer, which is relevant to what we're talking about.
Still some elements of Punk's last injury. Yes, he tore his tricep, didn't he? And that Royal Rumble that he returned to.
Yeah, he was injured in
2024. Yeah.
And then I think he was injured before. He was injured in AEW. Then he was then he came back. Then he got re-injured in WWE, the same injury. And, I don't know. Let's see.
Did a good job with Drew McIntyre, who's a bigger wrestler during their feud.
Yeah, his matches with Drew were awesome. Yeah, he's 46, so.
Yeah, so it
happens.
We'll see. One thing about it, I'm very pleased. Remember when we started Don't Bury the Lead? It was 2022, and earlier that year, Roman Reigns announced at a house show that he'd be a part-time wrestler because of his leukemia treatment. 3 years later, it looks like Roman is in fantastic shape. It looks like he's healthy.
Yeah.
What a great story this is. Like, I don't know if this last injury angle was to give him more time off, but whatever it is, what a great just human interest story that he seems to be 3 years later healthy and still going and still able to main event. Like on SmackDown, he's picking up the ring steps and ramming each of the other guys with it. Just casually grabbing the ring steps and using it as a weapon. It's wonderful to see just him, Joe Anoa'i looking healthy.
Yeah. That's a really good observation because it's not even something that they bring up or lean too much on either.
Oh.
It's not, which you feel like it could easily be some cheap heat.
Mm-hmm.
You're beating leukemia, but he's been really solid this entire run without any sort of drawback from that particular, sickness or illness rather that he's been diagnosed with. And then you have to also figure, he's, even if he's not wrestling actively, he has been very active on the road with them, doing a lot of stuff for years now.
Yep.
And yeah, maybe
looks good. I'm interested in this WrestleMania match. I don't know if it would be one of my favorites, but okay, I'm interested. The 3 stars, 3 mega stars.
Once they ring the bell, yeah, you'll be into that one.
Yep. That's all I got for the unusual lead here to this show. Is it time to move on to the follow?
Dom, I think it's time for the follow.
All right.
I'll go ahead and pick what I thought was my favorite match of the night.
Okay.
Street Profits versus Los Garza, and the Street Profits knock off Los Garza.
Mm-hmm.
This was a good match that led into the main. Then we had the main event promo section, but before that, we had a really good tag match between the Street Profits and Los Garza. Street Profits take it. Dom, what'd you think of this matchup?
Two tag teams of pairs of wrestlers who look different from each other and work differently from each other. I like this. They gave these guys almost 15 minutes of TV time plus a commercial or two. This was a long match. The crowd was hot for the Street Profits early.
Very.
Like throughout this match. And I started right now, this is a pretty good match. Even when I didn't have a lot of notes, it seemed like a pretty good match to me. And it built really well. Angelo Dawkins, biggest guy in the match, but he's taken a lot of punishment.
Yeah.
He was the guy working from underneath, which is unusual, but, allows him to get the hot tag to Montez Ford. Yes, the Street Profits wind up going over here. Hot tags to Dawkins and Angel. Eventually, Dawkins sent all the heels to the floor, including Santos Escobar, who was out there with Los Garza. Tags in Montez. Dawkins hit a swanton dive onto all three members of Legado del Fantasma on the floor. Throws Angel back in the ring where Montez Ford hits that top turn splash where when Montez Ford's knees hit the ring, it pops up almost into a handstand.
Mm-hmm.
And then he drops back on for the cover, gets the pinfall. A lot of fun stuff in this match. Tell me what stood out to you if you have some notes on spots and sequences.
Like you said, I didn't really have anything specifically from the spot perspective, but maybe just the theories of like trapping Angelo Dawkins.
Mm-hmm.
They did a good job cutting off the ring, the heels, and then working on them. I thought this was the best match I've seen from Los Garza, and I thought this was a big step up for them. I think they really performed. The crowd was reacting to them, which is like great. Hopefully this bleeds over into the US crowd a little bit. Like sometimes it's a monkey see, monkey do thing where people have to see other people cheering for other people to start to, or booing other people to start to cheer or boo for them. You've been pretty high on Los Garza, or at least complimented them to say like they were pretty good. Yep. This was their best match by far that I've seen from them by far, and I liked it a lot.
I did too. They got an opportunity, right?
Yeah, this is the best. This might be the best tag team match of the year because
so far for 3 months.
Because there has been a lot of DIY Motor City Machine Gun fast forward matches for me. Just trying to be honest, it hasn't been the best in the world. So this really, this was good. And then I like dumb things too. The crowd doing uno, dos for the pin instead of 1, 2.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that stuff. And
people love to count in any language.
Yes. And there was some more of that in other matches that I liked. Counting's really big. If you haven't watched this show before, anytime I'm like, if Dave Meltzer gives an extra star for something in Japan, I give an extra star if they intertwine counting somehow with the crowd. I'm like, oh yeah, perfect. Yeah. So another thing from my end here was I liked that Montez Ford got the hot tag, kind of showing that it's not just Angelo Dawkins all the time that just sits in the corner. Then they tag him in and then he does his big moves. They flipped it this time. So it's not going to be the same match over and over. And they're two totally different wrestlers. So it'll be cool to see what they can come up with. But yeah, that's what I have for this one. For my match of the night, best tag team match of the year on the men's side. And anything else from you, Dom?
Yes, some great spots in this match. Humberto from Los Garza, scoop slam on Dawkins. Now, Dawkins is a taller wrestler, but it didn't look like he helped him very much.
No.
This was good strength by Humberto. Scoop slam and then followed up with a standing moonsault.
Yeah.
I like when Angel got Dawkins on his back in this a stretch maneuver, tagged in Humberto while he still got Dawkins in the stretch. Humberto hits the springboard blockbuster, float over, flipping over Dawkins for there. Los Garzas go for a double team slam on the Texan turnbuckle on Montez Ford. But when they do it, when they're trying to press slam them together with that extra height, Montez Ford lands on his feet and slowly turns around to glare at Angel and Humberto. And they just, the stunned looks on their faces, they are selling it very well. It's little things like that that show the chemistry between the two teams. Like to know when they're thinking about that spot, it's like, I'm landed on my feet and I'm going to slow turn around to you guys. And Angel and Humberto, they're kind of straddling the ropes there. So it's not like they're in the best spot where they can just get down quickly and fight. It's like they thought this was going to put the guy away, and now they're just kind of stuck on the ropes, just looking at Montez Ford land on his feet and glare at them. So that was cool to see. Everybody in this match wrestled well. I like this match as well. This was a candidate for match of the night for me as well, along with one other, if you want to go to that, unless you have more to say here.
No, I just wanted to call up another chat here. Dime saying WWE signed Craven Moorhead to a contract. Some comparing him to a young Rock.
Well, Craven Moorhead. Well, John, do you know what promotion he's arriving from?
I don't know, but
Craven Moorhead. That's a good lead there. Thank you, Dime.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
That's a good lead there.
And we got
Hello, Nick. Here. What's up, Nick?
From the happy hour, which we love
Nick
every
Club
Friday
Wrestling
night.
Happy Hour.
Yes. Really good interviews recently too, Nick. I like what you guys are doing with your channel now. Getting bigger and bigger names on there, which is really cool. So check out his channel every Friday night. And we got one more here from the Fixer. Oh yeah, Ray Phoenix.
Is that the weird video montage that we got at some point where the number 4 was involved and there was black and white smoke?
It's always a mystery, right?
It's always a mystery. Yes, I've heard that Phoenix is signed as well, and I'm wondering which of the esoteric vignettes is Ray Phoenix.
I'll tell you what, Ray Phoenix, the Lucha Bros are a fantastic tag team. So if we have the Street Profits, now Los Garza, and now the Lucha Bros they'll be a big adding to.
And Pretty Deadly's getting their title shot next week, apparently.
And Pretty Deadly, that's our boys. Pretty Deadly.
We'll see. We'll see how they do. Los Garza got their opportunity here. Let's see if Pretty Deadly is afforded the same opportunity next week.
Oh,
and what they do with it.
Black and White Smoke is Aleister Black, which is, yeah. So
okay,
Aleister Black. Oh man, which was Malachi Black in AEW.
Oh, okay.
All right. So moving on. Do you want to pick the next match, Tom?
Sure. This was the other candidate for match of the night, and I think this was my match of the night. When she's not, what a European vacation this has been for Liv Morgan. When she's not getting brutalized by Rhea Ripley with weapons in house shows, she's now got to be the one to drag Jade Cargill around for 10 minutes in a match on TV. And right. I liked it. Like this is the perfect Liv Morgan spot, isn't it? And they both looked really good. Jade having to work for the first time in a singles match in a 10-minute match, which is longer than we've seen her work in WWE. She really had the perfect opponent to do that. Liv fought from underneath, made her look good. At the end, Liv winds up winning this after some interference from not only distraction by Raquel Rodriguez, who was at ringside, but Naomi getting involved as the ref was distracted. We'll get to more of Naomi attacking after the bell, but Jade was momentarily distracted, turned to counter the Oblivion. Again, she countered Oblivion a few times and then just caught Liv and hit a backbreaker on it, which looked really good. Raquel up on the apron to distract the ref. Jade takes that opportunity to go after Naomi, who had appeared at ringside. Miscalculation on Jade's part there, going after someone who was outside of the ring, because now Naomi grabs the title belt, one of the title belts there, tag champs Liv and Raquel, and whacks Jade in the head with it. Jade staggers right into an Oblivion for a pinfall. Post-match, Naomi attacks a fallen Jade. Naomi's new gear looks really good. Her look just looks like it's been improved. It's not all it's still colorful and bright, but it's not like glow stick bright. So I like what they're doing with Naomi here. I like how Jade looked in this match. Give me some spots if you have some from this. I enjoyed this match a heck of a lot. Maybe it's because when it was announced, I was like, oh, is this going to be a squash or just interference right away? And it's going to be done in 4 or 5 minutes. And then I got a really good 10-minute match.
Yeah. I'd have to say Liv Morgan is the perfect person, right, to kind of bring Jade along. And I think for a while here, we've wanted Jade to get those longer matches, right? It's been less like, it's been less at times on Jade and more on like, can you please do a sink or swim match with her? Like, please
opportunity. This is a show about opportunity so far.
Yeah, exactly. She wanted to get an opportunity, or we wanted her to get an opportunity to showcase herself. Liv Morgan's the safest person, maybe outside of like Natalya Neidhart.
Yep,
that could get a good match out of her.
Great call out. They've both trained with Natalya, and I wonder if that was part of this booking.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, but I'll be honest with you. I'm more excited about Naomi than Jade, because they kind of plugged Naomi in while Jade was out for those 6 months or whatever. She was actually legit injured or whatever reason. But I'm more interested in Naomi's heel turn, having her kind of ditch that old character that was a little bit, let's just say, like, I think that this gives her a chance to try some heel stuff, and maybe she's a better heel than a face. And it kind of already feels like that.
Yep.
We got this from Nick. Jade should have, in my humble opinion, should have taken another year in development. She's not as polished as she should be.
I liked her in this match. As much as I will admit, when people surprise me, when we started doing Don't Bury the Lead, Ronda Rousey was not good. And then she had a great match with Raquel Rodriguez. And, I said, hey, I will admit this was a great match with Raquel. I will admit Jade looked really good in this match. Obviously, she's overpowering Liv early. Fantastic fall away slam at one point and a kip up. When Liv tried to just leave the ring with Raquel, said, no, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. Jade chases her up the ramp, grabs her and throws her back in the ring, walks her back to the ring and throws her back in. Looked great with a power slam. A couple times when Jade caught Liv on that chest cracker attempt. Like, that's a cool move. When you're the bigger, stronger wrestler, it's a show of strength to just catch somebody who's trying to give you the chest cracker there. So those looked really good. Also, Jade's ability to sell and take bumps. Liv hit the 3 Amigos suplexes. The old Eddie Guerrero thing that then Dominic Mysterio picked up on, and now they're saying, oh, Liv learned it from Dominic Mysterio. Liv hit the 3 Amigos on the taller wrestler, and Jade, went into each one of them and bumped very well for each one. It didn't look awkward. It didn't look botchy. The timing wasn't off at all. It looked fantastic. So, Jade hit 2 corner splashes, then a spine buster at one point, then hit that spinning face plant and a kip up for a 2 count. Jade looked great. This is the Jade Cargill I wanted to see. And maybe, like Nick was saying, she needed another year in developmental. Well, it's been a little more than a year since she's been on the main roster. Maybe this was her year in developmental that we all just got to see on TV every now and then.
Yeah,
Right now, she looks good, though. What did you think of Jade, how she looked in this match?
got the fixer. I think Liv carried Jade a bit in that match.
Yes, but Jade still looked really good. Like, Liv wasn't wrestling the proverbial broom handle or coat rack in this match. Like, Jade looked good. Like, Liv was there to lead her along, but for someone who was being led, Jade looked really good.
Yeah, it's good to see that she does look good after, all this time. So, she's passed this test. This is one of the easier ones. You're with Liv Morgan.
Yep.
You don't really have much of a finish. You have this amazing crowd, but it's still, they're at least giving her the opportunity. And they, let's just say she couldn't stay where she was at, right?
No.
Where they were just, where they were just like having her hang back, as the hot tag in the Bianca Belair thing. Like, that was never going to work. So,
you said you were excited for Naomi's heel turn. Jade versus Naomi. It looks like that may be Jade's first big feud.
Now that'll
as a
be the real
singles wrestler.
challenge.
Are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, for sure. I think they set it up pretty
Okay.
well.
Yeah.
And if Naomi, if Jade can go, or at least put something together, and then Naomi, it's really going to be a lot on Naomi to be the veteran and carry it. I think there's probably a little bit more pressure on her. But there's been a lot of pressure on Jade throughout her whole career. I think she got pushed a little too early in AEW, and now she got pushed / nurtured in WWE. Like, she got pushed as top star and didn't put her in NXT, and then they babysat her for a year. So she's had an interesting career. But yeah, so
I liked it. Good match. This was up there with me with the tag match that was in the third hour.
Did you notice the gear that Naomi was wearing? Do you know what that was a callback to?
It looked like it was caution tape. I don't know much of her history, so you tell me if there was something I missed that was like years ago.
That's Owen Hart when he was in the Nation of Domination. There was a moment. There was a time when they basically had Owen Hart in the Nation of Domination as a comedy gimmick, a little bit or a lot bit like Sami Zayn was in the Bloodline.
Okay.
Like, that was his role, like a white Canadian guy in the Nation of Domination.
Sure.
It was ridiculous, but it worked. Like, he was the comedy gimmick, and he'd always scream, "I am not a nugget," because I don't know, they called him a nugget. That was like his go-to liner. But yeah, so that was the old Owen Hart gimmick, because it was Owen Hart, regular Bret Hart, Owen Hart stuff. Then they turned him into this heel. Then he was a Blue Blazer, which of course ended up, being deadly. But in between that Blue Blazer, Owen Hart, Bret Hart's brother thing, they had him being in the Nation of Domination.
What was the connection to the caution tape, though?
His gear had caution tape on it.
Okay. All right, I like that then.
Yeah.
That's kind of an obscure callback there, because it's not like Naomi's in a faction at the moment. She's really on her own. She's a loner at this point. Bianca doesn't like her. Jade obviously doesn't like her.
Yeah. And
Bailey,
you know what?
might be on the other Bailey's on the other program.
Just for the heck of it, because why not? It's our show.
Yeah.
I'll just show the photo. It says danger instead of caution, but you could see the yellow inspiration.
Yeah.
Like the yellow lines and everything like that. So
very good. Okay, I did not know that. Thank you. I just thought that she looked different. Her hair was different, and we'll see if the way she moves and if she's more aggressive.
Yeah.
Farouk, D'Lo Brown, Rocky Maivia were the Nation of Domination. There you go.
Farouk and The Rock. That's a good 1-2, right? Farouk is fantastic.
Farouk is Ron Simmons. Former world champion in NWA WCW.
Yeah.
Had a good feud with Vader, Big Van Vader.
Mm-hmm. And then D'Lo, of course,
Mm-hmm.
who always felt like he was the European champion then. He just always had that. He always had a belt like that. Nobody really cared much about. Was the European Championship?
It's like, when did he win that belt? Is it ever defended? What did they do?
Yeah, he was just like going out there and wearing it and wrestling in dark shows, I guess. But anyways,
very good. Few more matches. What do you like next?
I liked the Piper Niven versus Zelina Vega match. Piper Niven goes over, probably in a win that she needs because it feels like she's been losing a lot, or just kind of give her a little bit of legitimacy. Zelina Vega, as always, she gets an opportunity and she delivers. And I like this one.
She is the female Rey Mysterio. Like, she's so undersized, but she's quick and she's aggressive.
And with a girl like Piper Niven, it's a great matchup because she could just do all the big man stuff.
Yep.
And you got the tiniest little girl in Zelina Vega, who is quite athletic though. I like Zelina doing the 10 punches. Guilty. We talked about it earlier. I saw the 10 punches. I was like, this crowd is going to love the 10 punches. When she went up to do it, I was like, yes, brilliant. Do it, girl. Piper Niven did something that I like from the old indie days we would do, which would be the 4 corners. So you smash your head in one corner, then you go to the next. You smash your head in the other corner, you go to the next. Smash your head in the other corner, then you hit the 4th. And that was our indie. That would be the go-to. Oh, I've never wrestled. I'm like, yeah, let's do 4 corners.
Yeah.
And there was a really stiff slap from Piper Niven. And then she body pressed Zelina, and then Zelina reversed it into a hold. I like that whole transition because
she escaped that press slam and went to apply a choke on Piper.
Yeah. Exactly.
That one. Yeah, same one. Yeah, I like that. I had that marked as well. Zelina tries to apply the flying octopus hold on Piper Niven, stretching out her arms.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like there was little Zelina Vega like barely making it to Piper Niven's elbows.
I know.
That was a good one. Zelina, though, aggressive second turnbuckle Meteora, got a 2 count out of it. That was good stuff. And even the closing sequence, Zelina hit that spinning, they called it the satellite DDT for a 2 count. Then, it was the distraction from Chelsea Green and Alba Fire on the floor. She drills Chelsea Green, kicks Alba Fire on the other side of the ring, but then she walks right into a crossbody in the middle of the ring from Piper Niven for the pinfall. So Zelina winds up looking strong because she was distracted by the heels on the outside. Like you said, Piper Niven gets a much needed win here. I did write at one point, this match is going way too long. Like, this was like a 15-minute match. Like, going, oh, come on. There's 2 extra heels on the side of the ring. Obviously, they're going to interfere and distract. It's going to cost Zelina Vega the match. Let's go. We can do this in 8 minutes. There was a moment when I'm going, oh, come on. They're just going too long. What are they milking?
Right.
Like you said, I'm glad that Piper Niven got a win here and Zelina Vega looked good when we haven't seen her in singles competition in a while. She looked good.
Yep. So Piper Niven goes over. And how about you? What match do we want to head to next?
I like the second match of the night where we're basically like reversing our way down the card here.
Yeah,
from last thing all the way down. Jacob Fatu with Tama Tonga versus Braun Strowman. They teased that whoever wins this match gets a title shot against LA Knight, maybe as soon as next week. This is a hard-hitting big hoss match. I think they're building to WrestleMania with these two, Jacob Fatu and Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
In some fashion. Big brawling match. Braun at one point finally does hit the Strowman Express after earlier. Jacob countered it and sent Braun over the announce table, and they're just brawling on the floor. This winds up being a DQ when Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga attack Jacob Fatu and get him disqualified, which he was ticked off about in the backstage area in segments later in the show. So more tension in Bloodline 2.0, but that winds up costing Jacob Fatu the match. But after being momentarily upset, he joins in the 3-on-1 beatdown on Braun Strowman. And then LA Knight's music hits, and he makes the save for the guy who's now his opponent next week. LA Knight makes the save. Braun Strowman recovers, and the baby faces clear the ring, fighting 2-on-3. Bloodline 2.0 has never looked weaker.
I know.
3 of them just got chased out of the ring by 2 guys, one of whom is in street clothes and Timberlands.
Oh, man. Yeah, they are just they're slowly turning into like the jobber group, right?
Right.
They went from, they really built them to be like the next dominant big group, and then they went toe to toe with the Bloodline. Like, that was a pretty close matchup, and now it's just like, they're just getting jobbed out. I don't know.
Like they're this close to being renamed Legado del Samoa.
Yeah, right. They're losing left and right. They're all over the show, and they're just always losing. So it's just like it's weird. I don't know what's going on.
The plan is like you were saying and noticing that Jacob Fatu is getting cheered, and he might be great as a singles wrestler. It seems like they're doing a lot to get Jacob Fatu a clean break, but to have it make sense. Like, oh, these guys are holding him back. These guys are costing him matches and opportunities at title shots and whatnot. So, yeah, they're playing the long game. Paul Heyman has said that everything with the Bloodline is a very long game as far as the angles go. So I'll take the ride. But, yeah, it is looking like what's happening to these guys? Weren't these guys invincible 9 months ago?
They were. But now it's just like they went from invincible to just nothing. So...
right? Stare down enjoying between LA Knight and Braun Strowman at the end of the match there after clearing the ring. Are you looking forward to a match which will obviously end in a DQ and a no contest when the entire Bloodline 2.0 attacks them?
Yeah. I don't know.
Setting up the WrestleMania match of LA Knight and Braun Strowman against 2 of these guys.
Right.
We may not get a U.S. title defense at WrestleMania, but we may get LA Knight and Braun Strowman in some sort of against the Bloodline grudge match.
Yes. I see that happening.
And if they make it 3-on-3, like a 6-man tag, I don't know, maybe a returning Sami Zayn winds up in that match. I don't know.
Ooh, let's see. I got a good one from the Fixer.
Question here from another wrestling channel asking whose face turn and Jacob Fatu was a massively ahead. Okay, 75% of people are looking forward to his face turn more than any of the other options at this poll. Yeah, Jacob Fatu's, he's been in at or near the main event storyline since he's been in the WWE, because the Bloodline's been at or near the main event storyline his entire time here. His moveset screams babyface. He's got that charisma. Yeah, I'm not surprised at all that people are looking forward to him perhaps getting a babyface run.
I agree with that poll. I mean,
I don't even have to hear who the other people are. Jacob Fatu makes sense to me.
Yeah. All right, Tom. One more match here, right?
Yeah, it was the first match of the night. It was a tag match. Damian Priest and Jimmy Uso versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Drew McIntyre. Damian Priest winds up hitting the sit-out chokeslam on Shinsuke for the pinfall after Jimmy took care of Drew on the floor. And then Shinsuke was distracted by Jimmy on the floor there, walked right into the sit-out chokeslam from Damian Priest for the pinfall. But then Damian Priest just forgets that a guy who hates him is lurking on the outside of the ring, and he gets ambushed from behind post-match, completely beaten down and left for near dead in the ring by Drew McIntyre. These guys are obviously having a WrestleMania match.
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest. At this point, that one is obvious. So that's what I was saying at the beginning, that this is the most Road to WrestleMania SmackDown we've seen on the road to WrestleMania so far.
Right. Yeah.
Everything is putting together matchups for WrestleMania, which is in 4 weeks.
It really is. And yeah, I think they're setting this up for sure. And I'm looking forward to that one. Drew McIntyre has been fantastic. He really has been. And when you talk about like guys in the main event picture and you talk about like who could main event, Drew could main event a I would put Drew in the main event spot, no problem. You know,
Sure.
I think
And
he's right
Damian
there.
Priest is close. He's been a world champion within the past year, and I didn't think it was, a letdown to have the belt on him. He's a guy who a year ago could have been a winner of that poll. Whose babyface turn are you most looking forward to? Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley, and they succeeded. They managed to break away from Judgment Day while not destroying Judgment Day.
Yeah, right.
So that was some nifty threading of the needle there by creative, but everybody involved, all the wrestlers seem to have made it work, and it's been good for Damian Priest. It's been good for Rhea Ripley. Yeah, Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre. That's not a bad matchup. That's 2 world champions.
Yeah. All right.
Has all the makings of a banger.
Yeah.
As the banger, the Sheamus and Drew McIntyre used to say when they were kicking them back in the pub. Banger after banger after banger after banger.
That was a great line.
Yep.
All right.
Those are the 5 matches we got, plus the schmaz at the end of the show. Any of the non-wrestling segments you want to get to? I mean, it opened with Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, which is yet another, looks like, WrestleMania match they're setting up. Kevin Owens teased, hey, do you want to be a tag team again? I'm sorry, I was wrong for pile driving you and trying to end your career and like put you in a hospital and, maybe put you in traction for the rest of your life. I'm sorry about that. We should tag team again because we were so cool together. And Randy Orton's just like, I'm having none of it. I want to fight you at WrestleMania 41. So they've got a lot of good matches that don't need championship stipulations going into WrestleMania 41, right? Like Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, former world champions. Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest, former world champions. Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, former world champions. None of those matches need belts to be interesting, right?
No. I think there's probably enough intrigue with the Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, CM Punk rivalry. I think there's probably more with Seth and CM Punk all together but Roman Reigns and Seth still, and then CM Punk and Roman Reigns. I guess they have Heyman to kind of, that's the other connection.
Yes,
right?
that's the animosity between those two, and they are playing it up.
Both of them are fighting for daddy. So Heyman is going to be the connection there. And the thing with KO and Randy Orton is like, this is their role. Like, they're no longer like in title hunts per se, but they're big names. They can go in WrestleMania, or they're going to go into SmackDown, the main event of SmackDown, and you'll like it. They don't need to be chasing titles anymore. They're on the back end, if you will, of their career, but they're popular. So they're going to have, and Kevin Owens has had matches with Cody Rhodes, even though there were titles involved, but rivalries with Sami Zayn. There doesn't even have to be much of a story. Kevin Owens is going to put on a good match. So
he always gets a crowd reaction, whether it's babyface or heel. Whether he's in his rental car or out in the arena actually talking to people.
The rental car thing's amazing.
Yes. Remember when Dominic Mysterio showed up at WrestleMania in the back of the prison van?
Yes.
Kevin Owens needs to drive in a rental car. Like, it needs to have just like Avis or Hertz plates on it. It's got to be like this, dumpy old Camry or something. And he's on his phone driving in like, I can't find a place to park,
Oh my God. They have to do that. I got to make a short of you saying that. Hopefully the WWE creative team hears this. Like,
you're watching us.
I know you guys already watch all the other wrestling channels. I know you're on top of it. If I just put out a short and it goes off and it's like, Kevin Owens in a rental car because they had Eddie Guerrero in the lowrider. They've had, Kurt Angle in the milk truck, Steve
Yes.
Austin with the beer truck. They had Rusev with a tank, Kevin Owens, rental car.
Yes.
Yes,
And the
exactly.
Fixer thinks it's going to be a big match. I'm with you, Fixer. Two veterans who know what they're doing, good characters. Former world champions, Randy Orton, a 14-time world champion. So these are guys who've main evented before. It's good to see guys who've main evented before be able to do things like this and not be in the main event and still draw interest.
Yeah.
And like you're right, John. This is a good role for each of them.
We got
people want someone to beat some sense into Kevin Owens.
yes.
Since his insane story began. Yeah, like Kevin Owens, he's technically Cody Rhodes beat him pretty good in that that match they had recently that was what was it at Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
Their tables, ladders, and chairs, whatever it was, no disqualification or anything match. Yeah, Cody seemed to do it, but yeah, maybe Kevin Owens has more comeuppance.
Right. All right, Dom. What do you think? Anything else from this show?
Split screen interview with Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. I wrote down after writing split screen interview with Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair, catty. Period. That was it. It was catty.
This is the second time they've tried this. I know they had the split screen interview with, boy, I'm trying to think of it.
Was it Bailey and someone?
It was Bailey and Nia Jax.
Maybe, yeah.
Who ended up having good matches together, but I
Yes.
remember thinking this isn't that good. And I remember thinking tonight two things: this isn't that good. Two, this crowd is crazy hot. Why not put him in front of the crowd? They're cheering everything. This would be the easiest promo you could ever do. Put him right out.
I mean, they've got the Miz. This could have been a Miz TV.
Absolutely. This could have been a Miz TV. Take advantage of the EU crowd. They're nuts. Yep. They could have gone out there. They could have said 4 lines. The crowd would have went insane, and then that would have been that. You don't have.
And the live crowd reaction probably could have taken away from some of the awkwardness of basically a Zoom call.
A Zoom call. Which, hey, listen, we have kind of a Zoom call thing.
We're doing a restream video conference now, but it works for us. We're not trying to hype up a match where one of us is, like the heel and one of us is the makeup wearing baby face.
We don't have 18,000 people in the crowd.
No, we don't. We have nobody here. This is it. This is exactly what this was built for. Not for, like you said, it's not for when you have a hot crowd in Europe, in Bologna, Italy, and you're just like, yeah, well, let's just pack it in, put them on a Zoom call.
Oh, yeah. And we were in Italy, so our Italian goodbye tonight will be extra Italian.
Oh, there you go. It's the it'll be a bolognese goodbye there.
Oh, yeah.
So that was the only big thing I wanted to mention. I think we've hit everything else in the course of talking about the matches. Is it drive time? Is it time for our road to putting a bow on this show here?
Oh, yeah. Nick.
Smash the like. Tell us in the comments what you thought of this very long SmackDown show. And like Nick is reminding you there, smash the like button on this. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Help us climb the next mountain. We're close to 1,100 subscribers. Do I hear 1,200, 1,500? Will we get to 2,000? Thank you to everybody who's been on the ride with us so far. Help us climb that next mountain as I am just mixing metaphor after metaphor. I don't know what I'm doing at this point.
Oh, I love it. We go back
But I think
it's
drive time. It's the road to putting a bow on this show, right?
That's right. It's drive time, Dom.
Drive time. This is where you and I, it's the thumb drive. We are gonna distill this show into a simple thumbs up or a thumbs down. There are no ties. There are also no letter grades, no number grades, no star ratings. You are taking this course, pass, fail.
Dom, we're not Dave Meltzer. We don't do star ratings. We don't do 7 stars at the Tokyo Dome. We don't do 2 stars at the Wells Fargo Center. No, no, no. We don't do star ratings. We just give a simple thumbs up or thumbs down. So, are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Oh, 2 thumbs up. Dom, why'd you give the SmackDown a thumbs up?
Despite not having a real match for the main event, I thought the second half of the show was strong. Liv Morgan versus Jade Cargill. What a good coming out party for Jade Cargill as a singles wrestler in WWE. And then the main event wrestling match, the tag match. What a great coming out party for Los Garza. Finally getting in a long match with the title on the line and both teams being able to show what they could do. Really strong second half of this program that made it work for me.
Yeah, for me, it was a thumbs up. Still not a perfect show. The main event promo segment was okay. Really tough to come off of the John Cena promo on Monday Night Raw, which was all timer. An excellent promo. This one was just kind of like, oh, I sure don't like you. Oh, I sure don't like you. And oh, I sure don't like you. Okay, brawl. That was just sort of the gist of it. So the main event wasn't that good, but the matches throughout all the night, I really enjoyed. This European crowd, so much fun. Even if a match is dead or not going somewhere, they bring the energy. I specifically was very happy for Los Garza and the Street Profits because I think they've taken that tag division and it improved it just by having the Street Profits having the title, and Los Garza really worked well with them. So I was like more because we see a lot of tag matches. I'm rooting for that division to get better, and it's taken a step in the right direction.
I think it has as well. Something you just brought up to contrast the Netflix Monday Night Raw John Cena promo segment, which involved Cody Rhodes at the end. Which did you like better? John Cena and Cody Rhodes having this animosity between them, but not devolving into a brawl? Or Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, CM Punk devolving into the big brawl at the end? And maybe it was placement in the show as well, because Cena Cody Rhodes was not end of show, was it?
No.
It kind of opened the show.
Well, Cena's actual promo was unbelievably good. So
the crowd was hot for it.
The crowd was really into it. They sold it perfectly. He had some like really good points about why he would turn heel. I thought it like all totally made sense. And this isn't really actually, yeah, I wasn't too hot on the promo tonight, even if there was physicality. I was like, yeah, they're just saying stuff. But the promo with John Cena was just so good, and
Cody Rhodes was good too in that segment.
I liked how they Cena just shut up and he just said his piece, and then that was that. So,
you don't have to devolve into a brawl every time, right?
You know what? I think that is a good point. You don't need the physicality. You could save it for the actual match. It really depends on what was going to happen there. I think eventually Cody and Cena will probably have some sort of a brawl, but
sure,
you don't need to release it too soon.
Yep, I like it. All right, is it getting warm in here? It's always very inexpensive in here, but is it getting warm?
Oh, it's getting warm, and I'm jumping a little too quickly here. Dom, it's getting warm because it's starting to get warm out, and it's cheap because this shirt was like, actually, this might have been like $30. This is not a good example. Let's think here. Pull something up cheap, Dom.
I got a $5 blazer in the closet.
There you go.
That's the old Doc Lester brown blazer. Yes.
Oh yeah. So, it's Cheap Heat, baby.
It is.
Cheap Heat is a segment where we talk about trending topics in wrestling. So the WWE, AEW, and other trending topics in the wrestling world. What we've done in the past here is we do this show and we cut down segments and we release those as shorter YouTube clips. It's really the backbone and foundation of our channel. It has gotten us to a point where we're over 10,000 watch hours total lifetime. We're at nearly 1,100 subscribers. You can help us out with that if you're watching right now. You can become. We need 3 more to have 1,100 subscribers, and we are monetized with YouTube, which is very exciting. And it's all because of these short videos for Cheap Heat. So enough about us. A little bit more about the Cheap Heat here. So let me go ahead and I will.
Great Scott Steiner video about his appearance on Chris Van Vliet's show that you turned into an edited segment. That's our most recent edited video upload there that grew out of one of these live streams. So, yeah, that's up there. Yeah. Everybody head on over and Don't Bury the Lead, a wrestling channel on YouTube. Wherever you're watching the live stream, find us on YouTube. That's where the mother load of our content is, including those great edited videos, John, that you make. Sometimes an entire Cheap Heat segment will be cut out of the live stream and posted as a standalone segment there. And, of course, the hashtag shorts, those under 60-second things. We got a lot of content over there on the YouTube. And speaking of which, this is something that you alerted me to, John. These stocks from Investors Observer, these stocks will join and leave the S&P 500 next week. Why would we be talking about publicly traded companies joining and leaving the S&P 500? Because companies joining the S&P 500 includes TKO Group Holdings. This is basically they've reached that last hurdle, right?
Yeah.
They went public a couple of decades ago. John Cena really maybe doesn't get enough credit for being the champion during a time when it was not easy to be a champion of a pro wrestling promotion, because you had to do a bunch of please the board of directors stuff and please the shareholders stuff and please the mutual funds that invest in us stuff. But this is it now, the big merger with UFC into TKO Group Holdings, and now the company as a whole being large enough to be included in the S&P 500. What, besides just seeing TKO Group Holdings there, what was your response to seeing this and why you sent it to me?
Well, this is amazing news for TKO, the company that runs UFC, the WWE. I think they might have like bullfighting, PBR. The bull, that might be included in TKO, but don't quote me on that one. This is going to be huge for them because when you're in the S&P 500, your most simple investment, usually people are just like, hey, put it in the S&P 500. That's why that number is always followed when they talk about like, oh, how's the stock market? Because most people and their 401ks, they have money in the S&P 500.
It's an index fund. Yeah.
It's an index fund that is used by many Americans in their 401ks. So TKO is just going to be getting more and more money as a result of being in the S&P 500 because it's a lot of people's default. Okay, throw in the S&P 500. If they were out of that S&P 500, they're not getting the money. Now that they're in the S&P 500, it's a great spot to be. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be very good for them.
A company's market capitalization must exceed $14.5 billion to qualify for inclusion in the S&P 500. All changes will be effective at the start of trading on March 24th. So this coming Monday, right after we release this live stream on Saturday night, March 22nd, as it says there on your screen. This is pending to happen on the very next day that the trading doors are open.
Mm-hmm.
DoorDash, also in there, TKO, Williams-Sonoma, Expand Energy. So some other popular names, up and comers. DoorDash, of course, benefiting in recent years from delivery services, that being a much bigger deal rather than people always going out to restaurants. You know, DoorDash, Grubhub, places like that have figured out Uber Eats. They figured out how to do delivery, generated, of course, by a lot of really modern software that makes it easier for restaurants to use. Although you'll get some pushback from restaurants who say, yeah, it's easy to use, but it's kind of cutting into our bottom line. It's kind of a devil that you know, devil that you don't. I guess we have to. But DoorDash, they've got a great business model at the moment. TKO seems to as well. Don't know much about the other ones. Don't know much about those that are leaving the S&P 500. Or the only thing I will say is for Borg Warner, I guess you will not be assimilated. Oh. Oh, it's so funny because he said Borg and not assimilated. Oh.
I love it.
Yes, thank you, Family Guy, foreign guy who explains the sarcasm to Peter. All right, up next. You watch more AEW than I did. Dynamite recap and reactions. Jon Moxley is crazy. This past Wednesday, Adam Copeland, the former Edge in WWE, suplexed Jon Moxley onto a board with nails sticking out of it. Landed back first onto this weapon that they've named Spike. And then, of course, in the middle of the match, you would think that a man being impaled on a board full of nails would end a match. No, they allowed his friends to come into the ring and remove the spiked board from his back, and the match continued. You have mentioned before that Jon Moxley occasionally enjoys the death matches. Is this even too far for that? Is it too far for AEW? The best part of this picture here is what a frame. This audience goer in the front row with the hands on the head and the grimace.
I got a
looking at Jon Moxley. This guy here trying to record it on his phone with his facial expression. I mean, what a great angle for whoever this photographer was here. This is over at Yahoo Sports. SB Nation at Yahoo Sports is bringing this to us. What say you? Is Jon Moxley going a little too far here? Did you see this live?
I didn't see it live, but I saw it on the internet.
Go for it. Take it away.
I did want to call out the fixer. Said Jon Moxley is crazy as F for this.
Yes. Crazy as a fox for this. Yes, he is.
As a fox. I don't think he meant that. But yeah, so I'll tell you what. Here's the thing with the Jon Moxley spot. There has been a little bit of a movement that I can tell in the wrestling community that people are a little sick of the deathmatch stuff.
Okay.
I think the deathmatch stuff was probably peaked in the 90s in ECW. It was done a little bit better in ECW. I get this as a title match. This wasn't a blood feud. This wasn't like their third match. Oh, let's go bloody. It was like, no, it's their first match together. And they do this crazy spot. I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm saying I'm noticing modern fans are a little turned off by this stuff.
Okay.
When we wrestled in the Indies, we had a guy that did a blade job. And the fans would think, that didn't know anything, would think, oh, man, did he just fake cut himself? Did he just put, like, ketchup on his face? That's weird. And then but there was people that would say, other people that would know he did a blade job. It's like, he did a blade job? Like, why? There's like 50 people here, you know? So, you know, I think in conclusion, I think the modern fan is a little over this style. I like it if it's for, like, let's say, for example, WWE did a good job with it. CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, let's get some blood. And those two have hated each other. And yeah, they could do blood in a cage and Hell in a Cell because there's a bad, nasty feud with them. Mm-hmm. They've done an AEW too with Swerve Strickland and Hangman Adam Page. Those two hate each other. One of them lit their other house on fire. Okay, cool. You know, my goodness, Hangman lit Swerve's house on fire, and also Swerve would go to his house and say he have a video. It's like, hey, come in, follow me, and he'd go into Hangman's room, and where his son was at, and he's talking to his little son, and he'd leave him a little Swerve Strickland T-shirt or something like that, like all messed up stuff. It's like, okay, yeah, all that makes sense. This was just a regular championship match, and they did this. So
there you go. Reminds me of the Jim Cornette analysis that, in the 80s, we would go to great pains not to hurt each other. The crowds thought it was real. Then in the 90s with ECW, guys were legitimately beating the crap out of each other with weapons, and everybody thought it was fake.
Right.
Like, this is yeah, I don't need this. I don't know what this adds.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need the weapons. This is legitimately dangerous. He took that suplex on this spiked board here.
Mm.
Like, I mean, that could have hit, between a couple of vertebrae.
Yeah.
Your
Seriously.
spine's there.
Mm-hmm.
This is
and
unnecessary. It just made for shock value visuals.
It's shock value, but does it make the match any better? No. Does it?
It also doesn't make me like, oh, I got to run and watch AEW on Wednesday nights now.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's become, it's out of, it's not in vogue anymore. Mm-hmm. It's out. It's very out. I think what really killed it where there was deathmatch wrestling in South Jersey. I'm not kidding at all. Our boy here, Matt Tremont, I'm not going to drag him too much because I actually know him, but Matt Tremont and then all his boys, and they go down to Delaware and they do this deathmatch tournament. And Moxley's been in it before he made it to WWE. But
oh wow, okay.
And they get out like chainsaws and stuff like that, and they're using that on each other and all kinds of stuff. Like, and there's big pipes or fluorescent lights. They're hitting each other with fluorescent lights, and then they're falling in the glass of the fluorescent lights. So there's glass all over the place. They're bleeding all over the place. It's just, and it's just like 400 people there watching it. You're like, come on, man. This is white trash shit.
Well, there you go. Other than that, have you been impressed by Adam Copeland since he's been in AEW? Cope, as they call him now.
I haven't seen him in a while.
Okay.
We
have a short, a edited video you have of him trying to do the elbow off the top of the cage that put him out for several months when he broke his ankle or his foot or something.
He was a good veteran to get when CM Punk left because he has a brain.
Yeah.
And he kind of was there almost as a leader and a mentor. Like there was one point, Ricky Starks shot a promo on Adam Copeland, and he talked about his bug eyes, and that was not scripted. And then he called him a knockoff Rock just because he didn't expect him. He didn't expect him to call him that, so he just said, "Yeah, you're a knockoff Rock." And so they had a bad promo, and then Ricky Starks just kind of went away. I think it was part of like Tony trying to figure out how do we get these guys in order. And then Adam Copeland probably went to him and said, "Hey, yeah, how about you take him off the show if he's going to do stupid shit like that?"
Adam Copeland and Cope and Christian Cage, of course, originally from Mexico North, as Scott Steiner informed us.
Yes, they are from Mexico North.
Heading over to WrestleMania and the festivities surrounding WrestleMania. That is Mickie James here. This coming to us from WrestleZone. Mickie James to make an in-ring return at a WrestleMania weekend event. WrestleCon announced James will face off against Japan's Maki Ito at the annual Mark Hitchcock Memorial Super Show on WrestleMania weekend in Las Vegas. What do you say there? It takes place April 17th, which is, I believe, the Thursday? Thursday. That's the Thursday leading into WrestleMania weekend as part of the WrestleCon convention. This is Mickie James' first match since she competed alongside Shelly Benson at Wrestling Revolution in September. It's got to be her first singles match since she challenged Trinity, who is now Naomi, for the Knockouts title at Bound for Glory in 2023. Good news for Mickie James here, being able to get back into the squared circle there. Real life wife of Nick Aldis, SmackDown GM.
I didn't realize that.
Yes. We're a big wrestling family there. Do you remember Mickie James in her heyday in the old WWF, then becoming WWE?
Yeah, Mickie James.
I remember her a little bit.
Yeah, Mickie James wrestled in the... I'll tell you what, the thing that sticks out most to me for Mickie James is she wrestled in the Royal Rumble, and she was actively on TNA, and they let her wear the TNA belt when she came down.
Oh.
And Vince McMahon was in charge, and I couldn't believe. I thought I would never see something like that, and Vince let her do it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll bring up the tweet they have embedded here. But Mickie James, so the TNA crossover is what you remember most. Do you remember her from her WWE days at all? I also remember her a little bit from TNA Impact.
I've only ever seen her in these Royal Rumble run-ins. And
okay. Very good. She's had a long career. And so for perhaps fans who don't know much about Mickie James, this is your chance to see her. Yes, she's older. Yes, she's not a full-time wrestler anymore. But Trish Stratus had a really impressive return recently. So it's not automatic that these veterans who are making comebacks are going to be, they're going to show a lot of rust. This may be a great performance. Happy for her getting back into the ring again and being able to do this. More stuff from WrestleMania weekend. A dream come true. Ring the bell, Diva Mania, Friday, April 18th. We'll have Gail Kim, Vix Crow, who I don't know who she was in WWE, but the Barbie Blank was apparently, this is Kelly Kelly. So some former big names from the Diva era, or in Gail Kim's case, from helping women's wrestling get away from that. Big names. WrestleMania does this, doesn't it? It attracts not only WrestleMania, but it attracts anybody else who's doing wrestling stuff convention-wise, meet and greets, perhaps some showcase matches. Neat stuff here. Do you remember any of these wrestlers here, and what's your favorite memory? My favorite memory is watching Gail Kim in TNA Impact and going, wow, she can really wrestle. And then eventually that changing women's wrestling for the better, I think.
Yeah.
What do you remember about any of these three wrestlers?
I got some news for you. This is a good idea. Kind of not washed up, but like they probably can still go a little bit. Divas that are kind of lingering around, that'll get some nostalgia pop, right? So they'll draw people in on WrestleMania weekend. Call it Diva Mania. I love the idea of it. I think it's brilliant. This is the best one I've seen, because it's going to be like, yo, you want to go watch these older girls beat each other up? You're like, yeah, of course.
Not even sure if they're wrestling or if they're just appearing at this. This is a very Vegas thing, right?
Yeah.
Like they're holding WrestleMania in Las Vegas, and this looks like a very Vegas thing.
Oh, official party, Diva Mania this weekend. I scroll down a little bit. Wait, it's 10 p.m. Oh, wait a second. Is this not a match?
I don't think it's a match. 10 p.m. to late night. It's at it may be just a meet and greet at a club there in Vegas. It's a very Vegas thing to do. Something called Ring the Bell. Looks like it's just a big club show. Maybe not matches, but
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, I take it back.
It may be one step ahead of Hulk Hogan doing a beer meet and greet at a grocery store with little kids waiting in line for 2 hours.
Can't get worse than that.
Hopefully no one cries at Gail Kim, Barbie Blank, or Vix Crow. Other stuff from WrestleMania weekend coming to us from WrestleZone here. Lex Luger, rumored to be going into the Hall of Fame. Sting might induct him, although Sting has some sort of financial ties, professional ties to AEW. Not sure if Sting will be able to be there to induct him. Lex has said he'd like both Sting and Diamond Dallas Page to be there to induct him. Page signed a WWE Legends contract last year, so easy for him to be there. However, Sting is under contract to AEW. It's unclear whether Sting's participation would require AEW's approval. Sources said the WWE was planning to make overtures, if they hadn't already, about making it happen. Per Sap, Luger and those close to him informed WWE that Sting was the preferred choice. What do you think about Lex Luger going into the Hall of Fame? And what do you think about the possibility of Sting coming out, not to wrestle? His retirement was real, but just to show up, perhaps with his third Steiner brother looking goatee, as we heard last week from Scott Steiner, and induct Lex Luger into the WWE Hall of Fame.
I wanted to weave this in. I missed this comment from our previous conversation.
Sure.
The biggest heat Mickie James ever got was for that gesture with Trish Stratus.
Okay, I think I do remember the famous / infamous gesture. Yes, they during a match, she made some sort of V shape and tongue, and yes, during a match.
Oh boy.
Yeah, there you go. But she was one heck of a wrestler in her own right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she also was good.
Mickie James was one of those who you started to say, oh, she's a real athlete.
Mm-hmm.
She could be a real wrestler here. And maybe that was part of the WWE changing. Yes.
I think it would be cool if AEW lets him do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think AEW should let him do it. But I also feel like if we're going to open that can, then the WWE should let people do stuff in AEW.
You never know. They might.
The best case scenario right now would be if these little things, they let them do little things like this.
Yeah, especially since here, Sting does have a relationship with WWE, previously had a run with WWE, was inducted into WWE Hall of Fame in 2016. So it's not like he's a total stranger to WWE. So there you go. So very good. I'm glad to see Lex Luger go in. He's had a lot of health problems post-wrestling. In some ways, amazed that he's lasted this long and he's still alive and apparently in good spirits. And we'll see how he looks at the Hall of Fame induction. It'll be nostalgic. That's really what WWE Hall of Fame is about. It's a big nostalgia. So watching Sting and Luger up there again, that would be special for a lot of perhaps longtime wrestling fans. One more with the little WrestleMania tie-ins here from WrestleZone. That's Charlotte Flair, who was involved in a very catty Zoom call with co-worker Tiffany Stratton on the SmackDown. She reveals the 3 matches she's most proud of. She couldn't pick just one, so she picked the 3 that she's most proud of. Evolution match with Becky Lynch, Survivor Series with Ronda Rousey. This must have been before Ronda Rousey was quiet quitting. And probably Asuka at WrestleMania 34. So she does sneak a WrestleMania match in there, and no surprise that, somebody like Asuka makes it in there. I don't know what the outcomes of these matches were. Do you remember any of these matches that Charlotte Flair says she is most proud of? These must have been great matches if they rank ahead of what she did for Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania 39.
Surprised she didn't list
calling that match for Rhea and putting Rhea over was just what a great job by Charlotte in that match. Do you remember any of these 3 and any fond memories of them?
Well, maybe these are matches she won, right?
Okay.
so that was part of it, right? So she just listed 3 matches that she won that are her favorites. Maybe
matches
also
most proud of. Yeah.
And I'm sure those are matches she just straight up won. The Evolution match with Becky Lynch. I don't know what that was. Ronda Rousey versus her. Oh, I'm unfamiliar with a lot of these. I'm sorry.
At Survivor Series. Me too. I know all the wrestlers, but I don't remember these particular matches.
I might have
But,
been checked out with WWE at this point.
right.
If
Good
this was,
that
yeah,
snuck one in there. So this would have been around 2018 for
I was done.
WrestleMania 34, 7 years ago.
Yeah, I
So
checked
this was
out.
Asuka's first run with them. That's a good WrestleMania match there to talk about. But yeah, WrestleMania. Ronda Rousey also spoke highly of the same match against Charlotte Flair at Survivor Series. Me and Charlotte at Survivor Series, when we walked out to a completely hostile audience that wanted to crap all over the match, we put on such a good performance that we had them chanting, "This is awesome," by the end of it. So that ranks up there, right? If you can turn a hostile crowd and get them to appreciate what you're doing, that says something about you. So very good WrestleMania tangent auxiliary stuff there. Let's jump on over to some outside of the wrestling things going on from Front Office Sports. Seth Rollins is parlaying WWE fame into NFL commentary. Apparently a huge Chicago Bears fan. Why are he and CM Punk such frenemies then? They're both Chicago diehards. They should be like just crying in each other's beer over the Bears.
Yeah, and talking about the Blackhawks, stuff like that.
Bear, why not? He's apparently guest hosting Good Morning Football for 3 days next week. Spoke to Front Office Sports about his sports talk aspirations. We've seen Cody Rhodes on College Game Day on ESPN for football. Pat McAfee, of course, jumps back and forth between announcing WWE and doing football and his sports-themed podcast radio show as well. Good move for Seth Rollins. Do you think he has the kind of personality to do this and branch out?
Well,
I think so. I think Seth has that kind of charisma.
He has been talking on microphones in front of people for 20 years, and not just not just live, like live in front of a crowd.
Yep.
I think you might see a little bit more of his actual personality come out, which I don't really know because I only know the pro wrestling personality, right?
Right.
It'd be interesting
What's the football fan and the football analyst? Does he have any keen insights into offensive line play?
Yeah. He better have stuff like that, because if he doesn't, then he ain't going to make it. So
yeah, he just can't cut promos on football. Rollins has appeared on Good Morning Football segments, but not the full show, several times over the past couple of years. Forged a relationship with co-host Kyle Brandt, who is also a big fan of the Bears and WWE. So this is good stuff here. Down further in this article, he mentioned his wife, fellow WWE star Becky Lynch. Rollins said she's been busy filming projects like Happy Gilmore 2 and an upcoming role in a Star Trek property that will come out on Paramount Plus. Who was missing in the Happy Gilmore 2 trailer, says comingsoon.net? MJF and Becky Lynch. What's going on here? I want to see the pro wrestlers in the Happy Gilmore 2 trailer. This is discrimination. John, what say you? Are you excited for Happy Gilmore 2? And are you excited that MJF and Becky Lynch have small roles to play in it?
If I'm understanding correctly, MJF is going to be Adam Sandler's son, which I would say could play a bigger role. And this movie is going to be huge. This could make him really big. He's got another movie about a Jewish comedy, a Jewish overnight camp that he did, and he's in this movie. This movie's really big. I think this movie could be really big, and he might become like he might, if he performs well in it, he might become like a guy, because you could see his acting skills in wrestling.
Let's just see if we can get
pause it. I think it's here.
Pause it here. Is he one of the guys jumping around here?
He's at the very top where it says this. That's him.
That's him. Okay.
That's
there
MJF.
He is. Very good. So MJF did make it into the trailer. You just have to turn your phone or your tablet or your laptop or your entire big screen TV upside down and
Yeah.
squint really hard. There he is.
He's reportedly portraying Gordy, one of the children of Sandler's character.
Yes, Sandler's title character there, Happy Gilmore. Very good. So more movie stuff coming out. Speaking of movies, Coyote versus Acme, a combination live-action animated film, has been rescued after Warner Brothers axed the finished film. They preferred to take a loss on it for a tax year than release it. Well, it's perhaps getting rescued, and guess who's in the movie? Everyone's favorite heel, John Cena. I wonder if they're releasing it now that John Cena's a hot property again. I wonder if he's a heel in the movie here. Catch Up Entertainment is expected to land distribution rights for Coyote versus Acme. Though the sale is not closed, the price tag is reportedly in the $50 million range, according to Deadline, which broke the news. Tell me, give me a John Cena reference in here. Here we go. Coyote vs. Acme is a live-action animation hybrid starring John Cena and Lana Condor. Directed by Dave Green, produced by DC Studios co-chief James Gunn. Warner Brothers shelved the completed film in November 2023 as a $30 million tax write-off. Must be nice. Prompting outrage from the creative community. Yes, the art snobs were so distraught that an animation live-action hybrid of Coyote versus Acme was shelved.
With
Such
John
a
Cena.
magnificent Art Nouveau piece of filmmaking was not released right away.
With John Cena.
How dare they?
How dare they? I needed to see what John Cena could do in the screen.
Right? This is why John Cena turned heel. Because he gives and he gives and he gives. And what do you do with this magnificent performance alongside cartoons? You shelve it for a $30 million tax write-off. This is why I kicked you in the nuts, Cody Rhodes.
This is why he's breaking up with us.
Yes. To retirement news from WrestleZone. Rob Van Dam does not like retirement matches. He prefers to just say, like, maybe, maybe not. So it gives him, a little bit of leeway if he does want to do another match, does not want to do another match. What do you think of RVD not being sure if he'll ever formally retire? He had an interview with Chris Van Vliet about this. I don't think I'll ever retire. I feel like even if I don't take wrestling bookings anymore, I don't think I'll make a big deal out of retirement. Because when wrestlers retire and then end up coming back in wrestling anyway, they say, no, I want one more match. For me, that is completely eating up the credibility that I had in wrestling and in wrestling retirement matches. What do you think of his approach to say, no, I'm not going to announce a retirement tour. I'm not going to announce a retirement match. I'm just RVD. Maybe I show up, maybe I don't.
It's perfect for him, right? Maybe
it kind of fits his personality, right?
The retirement match always felt cheap because there's always going to be another match anyway.
Right, Ric Flair.
With Flair, he did several retirement matches.
Right.
And has also threatened to wrestle John Cena after his retirement match.
He's going to stop taking his blood thinner medication and fight his way to that ring, as we have covered on previous Cheap Heats. On the other hand, I know you're a big RVD fan, so this was a good one to put in here. On the other hand, Bill Goldberg from Uncrowned from Yahoo Sports guarantees WWE retirement match in 2025, saying that he wants to have a retirement match. He wants to have one match and really go out and put on that one final match. For Goldberg, for someone who hasn't wrestled in a while and who feels like he never got a proper send-off, now 58 years old, do you think that perhaps for him, it's the better idea to say, yeah, give me one more match. I'll put somebody over if need be. I'll pass the torch. I just want people to see me in the ring again one more time.
Yeah. Solo Sikoa, maybe. He needs to win.
They were teasing a Goldberg versus Gunther matchup.
Wow.
Remember they had when they were in Atlanta and they brought Goldberg out and he had started drawing with Gunther.
Yeah.
That might be something. Gunther, I bet even Gunther could drag a great match out of a 58-year-old, oft-injured Bill Goldberg. Not to say that Goldberg's terrible, but he was a different kind of wrestler even in his prime.
Yeah.
Than what Gunther is. But yeah, like Solo Sikoa, yeah, someone like that. To the point where Goldberg guarantees it will go down in 2025.
They said, wait,
Hey.
can you scroll up to he received promises from WWE that he'll get his wish to the point where Goldberg guarantees it? Okay, so WWE is in. I thought he said he just wanted to have it. I was like, well, I don't know if they're going to let you have it. But it sounds like
I don't know. Well, they may have been somewhat coy with him in the past here. He lost to Reigns in Saudi Arabia. Has been itching to return for one final match ever since. Apparently, the match against Roman Reigns in Saudi Arabia involved him just coming off of an illness. I took the Roman match with a month prior notice. I had COVID. That's not the way to go out. It's surely not the way to go out, and it's surely not the way to go out in Saudi Arabia, where so many of my fans couldn't be there live to watch the finale. So, mild understatement guy. Paul and WWE CEO Paul Levesque, Triple H, and I spoke. We came to agreement that in 2025 I'd have my retirement match, but he doesn't know details yet. He also said in this interview, like he realizes that he's known as a WCW guy, even though he had an initial run with WWE from 2003 to 4, came back to the company in 2016, and has been a character often looms large in the promotion shadows for fantasy type matches. Bad Blood in 2024 in Atlanta was when he had that showdown with Gunther just on the mic, really.
Yeah.
So, two sides of the same issue there. For Rob Van Dam, he doesn't want to come out and say, yes, this is my retirement match, because he wants to have the flexibility to just show up places. Goldberg, on the other hand, seems to be that he always wanted a retirement match and doesn't think his last one was sufficient. So he wants maybe a chance to set it right. Sounds a lot like Sting going to AEW.
Yeah.
Wanted to go out on his terms, and eventually he was able to. So good for Bill Goldberg being able to do that. One more here from comingsoon.net. We mentioned Swerve Strickland earlier. This is Swerve Strickland claiming that AEW boosted CM Punk and Cody Rhodes' value. What do you think about the fact that there's now another great wrestling promotion there, and that guys that wrestle for each of them and maybe even bounce back and forth, it increases their value? Do you think that Swerve is correct here, that without going to AEW, Cody Rhodes would not be as big as he is returning to WWE? And in fact, without going to AEW, CM Punk would not have been as big heading back to WWE. What say you about Swerve's analysis there?
Facts,
right?
Straight facts, homie.
And how about Swerve Strickland being able to get out of a bad gimmick in WWE, and look what he's done in AEW?
He's become a top guy in AEW. I'm watching him wrestle Jon Moxley for the title.
Yeah, that's the next one, right? Swerve is the number one contender.
Yeah.
Former world champion there in the not too recent past.
Yeah. I totally agree. He's right. Specifically Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes was Stardust. He had done some stuff in, he had done some stuff for Ring of Honor. He did some stuff in New Japan that nobody really saw, although it was good. And then he went to AEW, and he was the savior there. He had the sledgehammer, and he bashed Triple H's crown, his chair. He sits on a throne, Triple H. And so they made the throne as he came out, and Cody Rhodes took a sledgehammer and bashed it and broke it. Yeah. No, he was the one that talked the most shit about WWE, Cody Rhodes. He trashed Punker too. He'd always trash him. Now they're back, and now they love the company.
Swerve with a great quote here. Sasha Banks had value. Mercedes Moné has more value now because of All Elite Wrestling. Cody had more value, but because of what AEW was able to do. Same with Punk. Same with Moxley coming to AEW. Ricky Starks to Ricky Saints now in WWE and NXT. Mercedes was the one that did big for the women. Now it makes Becky Lynch look a little, maybe. Now it makes New Day go, maybe. Charlotte Flair, I wonder, maybe. So just the fact that there's another wrestling promotion out there and that moving from WWE to the other one was not the death blow to your career.
Ricochet right now.
Ricochet, what a great example.
Ricochet's over. They are booing him like Dom when he talks.
Right, very good. Good for him because he was always kind of a milquetoast character.
Yeah.
Really good in the ring, ability to put people over and without looking weak himself. But now apparently he's great at cutting promos, getting into some great feuds, and really drawing crowd reactions. Good. He's good for him. I agree as well. Swerve Strickland, great interview here. This was, let's see, they say here he was speaking with, where was he talking? Just want to credit here, comingsoon.net. Swerve Strickland was speaking on the Bootleg Kev podcast. So if you want to find the full interview, go search for Bootleg Kev podcast. Swerve Strickland was on there to discuss all of this stuff. Great insights from him, and he's a guy who would know.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy who would know, and like you said, straight facts. Thank you, Swerve Strickland. And on that, John, that's all I got. It is unseasonably warm. It is pathologically frugal. What is it?
Dom, it's cheap heat.
Yes, it is. Tell us in the live chat, tell us in the comments, anything we missed from this past week that you wanted us to get to. Someone did Dime chatted in before about a new wrestler WWE has signed. We'll maybe look more into that wrestler's name there from way back in the beginning. What do you think of our takes on any of these stories we covered here? Do you have a different take? Do you have a perhaps agree with us, disagree? Did we get something totally wrong and you just want to go off on us and cut a big old heel promo on John and myself for what we did here? The Fixer, here's what I think. WWE and AEW should do an annual collaboration, create a new pay-per-view event, have their biggest names have matches in a war game style series of matches. That's a product of fantasy booking that I've heard at least once, and people were creating an entire card of a dozen matches for a WWE versus AEW style thing. Fun to think about. I agree with you, Fixer, but it's also the kind of thing that seems like it's best left undone. I think that's better for fantasy booking than for having to see the match actually play out just because of the logistics. But yes, fun to think about, fun to do for the video games. Maybe that'd be when it would be possible. Is it possible that they would at least get together for a video game joint venture where people can have MJF face Roman Reigns in a video game of some sort? Well, figure out who gets to put out that video game. But, gaming is a big deal as well. Some of this stuff best left to the fantasy booking and the gaming. But, yes, definitely Fixer interesting to think about.
Hey, Dom, I'm going to step away for a couple minutes. You want to hold it down or?
Sure, you can if you'd like. SmackDown was from Bologna, Italy. Are we into the Italian goodbye?
I forgot to mention this. What happened here? Okay, this should work. Let me change the background. Let me put this back. Sorry, hi chat overlay.
There you go. I could see some of the chat now. I'm in full screen mode.
Okay, it's time for the Italian goodbye.
Yeah, there we go. Some of the chats that came in while we were doing Cheap Heat. Here we go. Lex Luger was told he'd never walk again at one point, but working with DDP actually got him to walk again. So yeah, Diamond Dallas Page is doing that for a lot of former wrestlers and people who just their profession beat them up physically.
Can you see all the chats, Dom?
I can see a lot of them, yeah, and I'm able to scroll.
Oh, perfect. All right. Well, then you have all the chats, so you can talk to those while I step away.
There we go. Fixer also jumped in, said for the WWE versus AEW, no titles on the line, just an annual War Games, and hype would be insane. The hype probably would be insane. I'm afraid that some of the matches would just turn into weapons-filled schmazes. It would be the Jon Moxley special every match almost. I wonder how they would make that work logistically. But yeah, it might be the only way we ever see the Shield all back together again, right? Moxley, the former Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns all back together. Let's see here. Back in the Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression, that was a decade ago. Back when, yes, Jon Moxley was there doing great stuff in WWE. Moxley never got quite as crazy. Like, Moxley's the kind of guy who had to move to AEW in order to show this side of himself as a wrestler, right? Because he wasn't going to be able to get away with a lot of this stuff in WWE. So like Swerve Strickland was saying, sometimes your value increases when you go to another place that gives you better opportunities, different opportunities, has a slightly different product, even though it's all pro wrestling. All pro wrestling is not just cookie cutter, all the same. Very good there. Let's see. Other stuff that people were talking about. Jacob will be a massive face. Yes, we talked about that for a while. I wonder if they'll let him turn total face, though. The crowd seems to want it. Jacob Fatu looks like an LA Knight case to me, where WWE Creative wanted LA Knight to be a heel, and he was so good as a crap talking heel, as an arrogant heel, that people started cheering him just because he was so entertaining. Became what we talked about with Scott Steiner. Head on over to Don't Bury the Lead on YouTube. Find the Scott Steiner and Chris Van Vliet video that we have up there, because Scott Steiner talks about what it was like becoming Big Papa Pump and embarking on the singles career instead of the tag team with his brother Rick. And that when he became Big Papa Pump, he was trying to get booed. He was trying to be misogynistic and just talking down to people so that people would hate him, and it backfired. People loved him. People were like, this guy is great. We want more of him. So sometimes people who are meant to be heels, the crowd just takes to them. And I think that may be happening with our friend Jacob Fatu. Meant to be a heel, but of course, the crowd just loves his charisma. They love his moveset. They love his look, his demeanor, his mannerisms in the ring, and the little bit of talking they're allowing him to do. I mean, he looks dangerous, but he's got a babyface moveset, and he's got babyface style charisma, maybe. Our Don't Bury the Lead edited video here is titled Footage Scott Steiner Shoots on Canada with Chris Van Vliet. They talk WWE, WCW, and AEW. Check that out. Over 1,000 views already, only on its second day. Thank you to everybody checking out that video that we made over on the Don't Bury the Lead YouTube channel. You can't miss it. It's right there on the front page. Scroll down to either videos. There it is, videos. Right there, it's the second one in. Footage, Scott Steiner shoots on Canada. The thumbnail says Mexico North because that, of course, is one of the famous Scott Steiner promos. Scott Steiner, when he was in his prime on the mic, very few people could touch him on the mic. Very few people could touch him on the mic. Just unusual promos, full of confidence, full of insults to people. Very entertaining. Everybody remembers the math promo, but there was so much more to his character. Legendary on the mic. Comment in here on the live chat. I want to see Roman and Seth bury the hatchet. It's been over a decade. Yeah, now to have them bury the hatchet, do they have to really take their feud to the next level and have a blow off series of matches? Or is there just some point where they just shake hands and be like, we were better off together? Because I'm not sure it's true that they were better off together. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins have skyrocketed to the moon since Seth Rollins hit Roman Reigns with that chair and broke up the Shield. It's been good for each of them to be away from each other and to each be, in a sense, carrying a different brand, holding the various world titles at different times, and only crossing paths, every now and then, like they are currently in the build-up to WrestleMania. So I think so. It looks like they're building that these guys need to have a blow-off. These guys need to have a feud, get it out of their system, because if they don't, everybody's going to ask what if, right? Everybody's going to ask, how come we never got the marquee Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins blood feud with or without actual blood? How come we never got that great feud? It looked like their careers were converging there, right? Two guys shooting to the moon, but kind of bending in towards each other, and you figured at some point they'd clash. I think they have to have that big feud, which is why I thought maybe it would start at WrestleMania, but now it's CM Punk involved. I'm not sure what the booking is. But again, the WWE likes to play the long game. Seth and Roman are locked up contractually for a long time, so there's no rush. This isn't the territory days where you've got the world champ for 2 months before he moves on to the next territory. So you got to get all your stuff in with him in a couple of months or so. They have their time to take, but I hope it goes there. Yes, Fixer jumps in. Yes, pretty much yes. So yeah, very good. John, you are back.
I am back. I'm cooking soup real quick.
There you go, cooking soup. Very good. It is the Super Bowl with a bowl of soup. They're at Chez Zindel there in lovely South Jersey. Very good.
Yeah, I am. I kind of had to cut off dinner tonight, and then did the show. So now I'm pretty hungry.
There you go.
I did not.
Fixer says Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins need an Undertaker versus Triple H/Shawn Michaels match that ends their feud. Yeah, if they can do it WrestleMania style like that, those were some of the iconic matches for that era of stars, wasn't it? Undertaker, Triple H, a pair of matches at WrestleMania. Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, a pair of matches at WrestleMania. Some say that outside of matches, really flippy matches in Japan, that those Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, especially their first one, may have been one of the great U.S. side matches in the modern era.
Yeah.
Maybe a Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins blow-off match like that. Maybe they feud for a while. It has to include at least one WrestleMania. One-on-one. So it's not this year. It's got to be a future year then.
Who do you think is going to win that triple threat with Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, CM Punk?
Oh, I wonder if it'd be really cool if CM Punk won it somehow, just so that everybody in the world left disappointed. Yeah, because it depends on where WWE wants to go next with the feud. Do they want to do Seth Rollins? I got to give Seth Rollins credit for being at the top of the card for so long. He's the opposite of Triple H. Triple H was the guy when new stars were coming into the WWE, they'd have to face Triple H and they'd have to bow down and put Triple H over at some point.
Yeah.
Booker T had to do it. Sting had to do it. Everybody had to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Seth Rollins is the opposite. Cody Rhodes comes back after crapping all over WWE for years on the indie circuit in Japan and in AEW, and Seth puts him over right away in a cage when Cody had a torn pec. You know, they bring back CM Punk. Seth's putting him over.
Yeah.
Like Seth is the antithesis of Triple H.
It
He's
really
the
is.
big guy that people face when they finally come back to WWE, and Seth puts him over. Like Seth Rollins always works a great match, never takes a night off, A-lister in every regard, and yet he's in this position where he's putting guys over who, frankly, you start scratching your head and you wonder, does that guy deserve it?
Yeah.
Does that guy really deserve the Seth Rollins rub so soon?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes, but Cody was given that terrible gimmick Stardust. So maybe it was a make good for Cody. It's like,
Yeah.
man, we're sorry for what we put you through. You get to work with Seth Rollins and win the match.
And you know what? Cody did all he could with that gimmick. He made it. It should have been horrific, and it just was bad instead of horrific. Like he was doing everything he could, and they never had him feud with Goldust, which is
Right, another person who did a lot with that gimmick, right?
Mm-hmm. They
Dustin
never had
Rhodes
him.
did a lot with the Goldust gimmick.
It was right there for the taking. Those two, and then they went to AEW as their normal selves, and then they had a feud, and it was amazing. Cody Rhodes and Dusty Rhodes.
Ah, really? Okay.
Yeah, they end up hugging at the end of it. They're bleeding all over the place. That's a match you can bleed for.
Right. There you go. The blood feud between brothers. Cody hated the Stardust gimmick. Well, he still worked the heck out of it. So good on him for being a professional. He still worked the heck out of it. So I believe it perhaps is a bowl of soup, which is kind of like the Super Bowl time there for John. So he has stepped away there. What else do we want to talk about in the Italian Goodbye? We're coming up on the 2-hour mark here. Thanks for everyone who chatted with us, everybody who was live streaming with us tonight, even if you didn't jump into the chat. We appreciate everybody who's watching, everybody who's listening. If you wanted to chat, we appreciate those as well. We like hearing from people. We like the banter back and forth. John and I like to banter back and forth with each other. We also like to banter with some of the other voices that chime in here via the technology at our disposal. Don't ever mention it in Cody's presence. I will have to note to self, thank you, the fixer. If Cody Rhodes and I are ever in the same room, I will have to remember that that is not small talk fodder. It is not large talk fodder either. He's done plenty else with his career that no one has to mention Stardust ever again. He had the great feud with Nick Aldis for the 10 pounds of gold in the NWA. He had the great run in Japan, great run in AEW, basically helping build that second premier promotion in the U.S. And now he's back in WWE and he's the quarterback. He's had I have to admit, he's had a great babyface run. I was skeptical at first when they put the belt on him. I was like, okay, now what? What are they going to do with Cody Rhodes that is going to be different, obviously, from Roman Reigns because Cody's a babyface? But what are they going to do with him that makes him not immediately the vanilla babyface that he had been up to that point? I think Cody Rhodes has had a great babyface run at the top of the card as champion.
Yeah, who would have thought after
right?
he was...
And I it's continuing into WrestleMania here where, John Cena had to turn on somebody for his heel turn. It was Cody Rhodes, right? Cody was so over as a babyface that the star of the soon-to-be released Coyote versus Acme turned heel by nut-shotting Cody Rhodes.
Do you think Cena's career... Okay, if Cena wins at WrestleMania, is the retirement tour canceled?
That would be the greatest heel move ever, right? Sell all the retirement tour merch and be like, ha ha, we got you. Now that I'm the champ, I'm liking this. I'm not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would not put it past them. I would not put it past them.
I mean, if the retirement tour continues, then he's going to lose the belt, which is takes away from it.
That's a good point. You know, the best part of the Cena heel turn was that it was unpredictable. So if you want to keep it unpredictable, then you may have to play around with what you've announced previously. I think there will come a time not too far from now when Cody will turn heel. I thought he was turning heel with this Rock program. And then they did us one better with John Cena turning heel. But yeah, I thought it was in the works for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
Cena is a shoo-in for winning his 17th title, says the Fixer. I would not be averse to seeing it. I would not complain if there was a great match and John Cena wound up winning his 17th title. You think he retains until WrestleMania 2026. So, Fixer, you're giving us several predictions. You're saying Cena heel turn continues. You're saying Cena heel turn gets a title run. And you're saying the 2025 retirement tour is history. He's sticking around through 2026. You heard it here first from the Fixer. I like it. I have nothing more to say that can top the Fixer's list of predictions here and fantasy booking. I'll call it a night. We're at the 2-hour mark here. What say you, my friend? Anything else to slowly make our way to the door with?
I'll tell you what. We've been talking back and forth. We're in the foyer for a while now.
Yes.
Saying goodbye, but we had to do it because
I've got the leftovers. I'm ready to leave. We've got the remote start on the car. The seats are warming up.
Yeah, but remember that one time that
Oh, yeah, I remember the old neighborhood. How could I forget? Oh, forget about it. Bada bing.
All the tropes.
All the everything.
Yeah, let's do this. Fixer, thanks so much for joining. We had a couple other people. We have some others that are watching and
Nick.
not chatting.
Thank you, Dime, that chimed in there.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of people popping in on the YouTube, so that's really exciting to see. Thanks so much.
Craven Moorhead is the name for us to look up.
I better look into that. Yeah, for sure.
Craven Moorhead. Let me try and copy that there from the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
And hey, thanks everyone for your time. Really appreciate it. My name's John Zindel. Dom, thank you so much as always for hanging in there tonight and putting the cheap heat together so well. And I'm going to say this. You did a lot of work of the Italian Goodbye, too, so I appreciate that. And I've learned something here, and I'm going to try something a little different here when I say goodbye.
Okay.
So bear with me. Have a great rest of your evening.